Good morning and welcome to the September meeting of the Joint Legislative Committee on Administrative Rules. First, we will convene, and before we even seat the alternates, I would ask Senator Ward to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. I will seat, I don't see Senator Altshuler yet. Hopefully, we will see her shortly. I'm not sure if we have our quorum yet. We need 6? Okay, perfect. I thought it was 8. I'm glad we don't need 8. So I will seat Representative Hacken Phillips for Representative Grode. And so with that, we have a quorum of 6. And with that, we can review the minutes. Has everybody had a chance to see the minutes from the previous meeting?
I'll move approval of the minutes.
Moved by Senator Long, seconded by Senator Ward. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. With that, the minutes are approved. Next, we will move to the consent agenda. Are there any items to be removed from the consent agenda? Is there a second?
Second.
Move to approved by Representative Schmidt, seconded by Senator Ward. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, say nay. And the consent agenda is approved. I do see a few more people in the crowd than I'm used to. I did want to let you all know that there is a form that if you did want to speak to any of these items on the regular calendar, or there's a form to fill out and you can pass them forward so we know if there's any specific public input. With that, we will move to the regular agenda, item 2025-130, which is the kinship care home licensing standards.
Yes, so a conditional approval request has been filed for this, but there are just 3 comments left to discuss. You'll see the first one on page 1 of the conditional approval request.
What's that? A Charles Henry? Is there a Charles Henry in the crowd? I don't see one.
Okay.
I'll defer to security when they ask a question.
Okay, I'll start over. 2025-130 is the kinship care home licensing standards. A conditional approval request has been filed. There are just 3 comments to review with you today. The first one is on the top of page 1 of the conditional approval request. You'll see a note regarding the fact that the proposal implements legislation for the first time, and that is from the 2022 session, so there is a slight delay there. My understanding is that the department will be able to speak about that delay. The other 2 comments, I'll kind of do them together. They're both on page 20 of the conditional approval request packet, page 18 of the rule. You'll see these 2 comments both at the top of the page and the bottom of the page. And these are about the potential need to do some legislation. So for the first one, the statute allows for a permit to be renewed for good cause, but the department states in its public comment report that permits can't be renewed because the state would be unable to draw down the federal match during that permitting process. So it sounds like the statute might need to be amended. The second comment at the bottom of the page is about the fact that the statute allows for kinship licenses to have conditions placed on the license to allow for a shorter time period than 2 years. But the agency states in the public comment report that there really aren't any conditions for which a license for shorter than 2 years would be necessary. And so again, you may want to have a conversation and figure out whether or not we need to do a statutory amendment on those 2. And that was all I had.
Thank you. Representative McGuire?
Yes, thank you. Did I understand you correctly to say that a permit cannot be renewed and therefore it's for a one-time 2-year period?
So I don't know about the 2-year period. what I've read was that they can't renew them for good cause because the state would be unable to draw down the match during that permitting process. That was the comment on the report, on the public comment report, in response to folks asking about, being able to renew a permit. And it does allow for that in the statute, but the department is here and can
Okay.
answer why that.
I'd like to hear about it because from the newspaper, at least, a fair number of these DCYF cases continue for more than 2 years.
So now the license only has a period of 2 years, but, and the statute does allow for a shorter period than 2 years. But again, the agency has stated in their public comment report that that's really not something that they can do, that there aren't any conditions that will allow for a shorter
That's
license period.
simple enough, but I'm concerned that they've got a child in care and the case drags on for 4 or 5 or 8 years, like the cases we hear about in the newspaper.
Yeah.
Good morning. My name is Nicole Valenzola. I'm the Rules Coordinator for the Department of Health and Human Services.
Good morning. My name is Jenna Wilson. I'm the administrator of the DCYF
If you can-
Policy and Regulatory Unit.
You can pull it down. Yes.
Is that better?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you and good morning. Thanks for your questions. Licenses absolutely can be renewed every 2 years. It is a 2-year license period. As long as the caregiver or applicant continues to be eligible and meet the requirements, they're eligible to renew their license every 2 years. The public comment was that we were not taking advantage of that legislative option to limit the time period of 2 years. Part of the reason is we often have cases where children reunite with their parents and then have to come back into care for whatever reason. And we wouldn't want to limit ourselves by eliminating that placement option with that established licensed kin by limiting their license period to a year because we thought that the child would be out of care after a year. So they could reunite and come right back in during that 2-year period, or that license would stay open and they could renew after 2 years. The caregiver could renew after 2 years rather than having to start the process all over with an initial license. Any other questions on the license?
Okay, so that if I understand you correctly, you're saying that a license can be renewed, except that it can't be just for good cause. It's got to be a complete renewal effort, like any other professional license.
The good cause comes into permit renewals.
Into what?
Permit renewals are separate. That's where the good cause statutory language was referenced.
Okay, so
So I can speak to that if I could.
please, because it's rather confusing.
So the statute provides for a temporary 6-month permit for applicants who are temporarily unable to meet the full licensure requirements. That is used for both like our traditional, what we call stranger foster homes, and for kinship care homes for our relatives and kin. The requirements for foster homes are significantly more. They take more time. For kinship care homes, with these rules, we intend to significantly reduce barriers to licensure to get these kids with their relatives and kin. So we do not anticipate that an applicant would need more than 6 months to go through the licensing process while on a temporary permit, because it takes a shorter amount of time. So we find that we believe that we will find there won't be a need to renew a 6-month permit because they will be licensed by then. After we received OLS attorney comment, we did amend the final proposal into the conditional approval request that you have before you to say that it could be renewed, perhaps based on the statutory language that we added back into the rule.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'll ask a couple clarifying questions because what you're saying sounds a little different than what my interpretation was. So you're stating that the kinship care permit is just the initial permit while you're working through the process if you haven't met all the requirements. You move from that permit to the license. and that license can be renewed, correct?
Correct.
I think that it may be helpful and a little clearer for people to understand if we were to add in the home license that's valid for the 2 years issued and remained, and say that it may be renewed. That may reduce some confusion and some concern. So that is in item F at the bottom of that page.
Are you,
Because- Sorry.
I'm sorry, could you tell me the page?
Yes, that's on page 18 of your rules, I believe page 20 of the packet. That was the second note on the possible need for legislation.
So you will see in HEC 6447.17B and in F that they did add in accordance or except as authorized by the statute. So it does state that they could in fact renew except as authorized by the statute. And then that's around the permits. And then F is around the license period. And so again, it says, or in accordance with the statute. So they have put that in there, but wasn't sure if there need to be some kind of statutory cleanup if they aren't going to renew them for longer. But that is a policy decision. I think the rules are fine as they are now. That's why I didn't have any comment other than to say there might be a potential need to fix this in the statute.
Representative McGuire?
I agree with you. The whole thing would be much clearer if valid for 2 years from the date of issue and shall remain in effect until the expiration date or renewal. You know, that's because if it, otherwise it reads like it can't ever be longer than 2 years, and that's my concern.
In 17F? Absolutely.
Considering we're used to reading laws and rules together and most of these families aren't, I think extra clarity is helpful. So
Thank
thank
you.
you. And so do you agree to add that change as a
Yes.
oral amendment, oral addition? Thank you.
Madam Chair, would you entertain a motion to approve the conditional approval as reviewed this morning?
Yes, there's no other questions from the committee, correct? Yes, I would entertain that motion.
So moved.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right, so moved by,
Would we like to see Senator Altshuler before we vote?
yes, thank you. And I will seat Senator Altshuler for Senator Reardon. Thank you. And with the motion to approve the conditional amendment with the oral amendments, it was moved by Representative Hacken-Phillips, seconded by Representative Schmidt. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, say nay. And that is approved. Thank you very much. And if you wouldn't mind staying for just a moment, I had a question for you after we're done, if you don't need to get off to another meeting. Thank you.
Madam Chair, since there may be some statutory fix required, should someone take care of that?
We can put it on the list that we have. We have a running list of possible statutory changes. We'll put it on that.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. And with that running list of statutory changes, I was intending to file that collection of statutory changes and look for co-sponsors amongst the members here. Okay. And since it will be an ongoing process with all of our input, it's a matter of getting that LSR in so that we can move forward. Yes, by tomorrow. So we'll be filing that shortly. Next, we'll move to other business. The emergency rule for the Lottery Commission on games of chance and video lottery terminals. This is an emergency rule that, or actually, I'll let you speak to that. I'd rather let you.
Okay.
Thank you.
So essentially, the video lottery terminals statutes went into effect to allow those in places where games of chance are permitted. I spoke with Valerie King, who's a division director over at Lottery and Gaming Commission. From their perspective, this isn't reinventing the wheel. They already had the historic horse racing machines in place. So really what they did, the foundation was there, the temples were there, they just kind of added this in. The harm would be the significant or substantial fiscal harm to the state in the loss of the revenue expected by these machines. And Valerie also told me that the department plans to follow this up with regular rulemaking to make these official rules. So it's kind of a lengthy emergency rule. Typically, we don't see 133-page rules when they're emergency, but the plan is, because these things are so intertwined, to just kind of merge them all, and that's where the regular rulemaking comes in. We're gonna see all that happen when they follow up with the initial proposal.
Thank you. Any comments from the committee? I look forward to seeing,
Oh, I did have a question. Is there a precedent in the state of New Hampshire for, emergency rules effective because of the short-term adoption of this, change to the budget process? I've never heard of anything that quickly.
I couldn't answer that question off the top of my head, whether there's precedent or not, but the standard under 541A18, there's two. There's immediate harm to the public and safety of the individuals, but there's also substantial fiscal harm to the state or its citizens. I think the department is relying on substantial harm to the citizens if the revenue doesn't come in.
Yeah, I understand the basis for the emergency rule. I'm just wondering what the precedent for fiscal harm to the state has been cited in the past.
Yeah, I don't have that information off the top of my head.
Thank you. And then we will, Senator Altshuler.
Good morning, and thank you for taking my question. So could you restate, is it potential, did you say potential fiscal harm, or what's
The standard is
what's the standard?
substantial, the potential for substantial fiscal harm to the state or its citizens.
Potential for substantial,
Do we want to pull up? the
yeah,
exact
for
language?
fiscal harm. And is that is there a number determination that tips us over into,
That's
it's
all.
just,
Yeah, that's what the statute says, and it is at the department's discretion. So the department adopted this rule, and these rules are already in effect. What we can do now, the JLCAR can petition the department to repeal those rules if they'd like to.
may I follow up?
The language is substantial fiscal harm to the state or its citizens.
Okay, and so my follow-up question is, substantial is subjective.
Yeah.
Yes. And
Okay,
And to answer your
could have
question,
it could have a percentage. There are some times where once we've reached a certain percent, we really need to take action, but this is a subjective look at possibly imposing fiscal harm, more fiscal harm.
I would,
correct. And to answer your question about precedent, we would have to do a history to find that. I don't think any of us go back far enough to know. So we could get back to you on that.
I do believe that when we're looking at the fiscal notes and looking at the impact to the state, substantial harm there is $10,000 of impact. So using the standard to allow something that's going to provide a higher margin to the state, I think will help make sure that we're not delaying the implementation of something that's been approved in policy. So,
Madam Chair, I would just like to express for the record that I believe that regular rulemaking should be undertaken, all expedience, with all expedience, given the fact that this is new territory, and since there is a potential substantial fiscal harm to the state and its citizens, that we should not delay in the event that the rush of these emergency rules, even though they are modeled on a previous charitable gaming infrastructure, may in fact not be appropriate for the new terms of the video lottery terminals.
thank you. And I believe that they are moving very quickly on these as well to make sure the permanent rules are correct.
That's my understanding after speaking to Director King as well.
Thank you. And with that, we'll move to the emergency, sorry. Yeah. Please state your name for us and then, yeah, please turn on your microphone as well. It'll need to be read.
Thanks. Good morning. My name is Valerie King. I am the director of the division that is overseeing this implementation as well as the rule writer. And just to answer the question, we are already in the process of finalizing our initial proposal, and we plan to bring that before our commission at their October meeting, so to begin the rulemaking process.
Thank you very much. We definitely appreciate you moving quickly on this. Thank you.
Thank you.
And with that, we will move to the Department of Safety Commissioner, Emergency Rule 14357 on the school bus transportation rule.
So this rule modifies the qualifications of an applicant under 130401. And what it does is it creates an exception. It says that the individual applicant applying to be a school bus driver has had no gap in their driver's license validity for more than 30 days due to suspension or non-renewal. So essentially the argument is that there is a major shortage of bus drivers in the state. And this 30-day gap is keeping a lot of otherwise qualified individuals off from being able to be a bus driver. So I did speak with, I'm going to butcher his name, unfortunately. I apologize, Sean. Sean Filio. Oh, look at me go. All right. And so we did check, and the 30-day suspensions tend to be more technical suspensions. You forgot to renew your license. You didn't pay a fine, and so there's a temporary suspension, but there wouldn't be a suspension, I believe, and Sean can correct me if I'm wrong, for anything sort of dangerous like drunk driving or anything like that wouldn't result in a suspension of 30 days or less. So, the concern being the harm to the children. The arguments are lack of transportation. People aren't going to be able to make it. We could have students who are on the bus for hours and hours. There could be medical conditions. There could be various things where that's not really appropriate for the student. So the argument lies more on the public health and safety side of things for this one.
Thank you. Representative Hacken Phillips?
Yeah, I'm just wondering if this is an opportunity for a legislative fix potentially to clarify that there's a difference between a 30-day gap due to a suspension, for instance, versus this non-renewal error, kind of administrative error, more or less.
Thank you. There may be a possibility for that, given that they're not safety reasons for the suspension. I'm less concerned than I had been when I initially saw the rule. However, filing is open if that's something that you're interested in pursuing.
In your firm.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you. And we will be seeing these rules, I believe. I assume that these will come through. Will there need to be a change to the rules beyond this? Because this emergency rule is only valid for 180 days, so we will need to go through the normal process.
To make it regular rulemaking.
Yes, so we'll be able to review it again in more detail at that point. Thank you. So I know that we have changed the date for the October meeting from Thursday the 16th to Friday the 17th because we were expecting there to be veto sessions that day. There will not be veto sessions that day. However, at this point, I believe that changing it back to Thursday would cause more chaos than just having a Friday meeting. So if there's no objections, we'll continue on with October 17th for our next regular meeting. I believe we can cancel our conditional meeting. I forget exactly what it's called.
Continued
The
meeting.
continued meeting that we always have a placeholder for, since we finished our business for the day. And if there is nothing else, we can adjourn. We are adjourned. Thank you.